यानी कुल मिला के 3 समझ लो यूनिवर्सिटी कंट्रोल में रहेंगे, एक अंबिकापुर, एक CSVTU में 2 हो चुके समझ लो, और एक करा देते हैं शंकराचार्य में।
राइट नहीं सही है,
वो ठीक रहेगा, मतलब वो
सही है,
ठीक रहेगा। तो चलिए आपका टाइम
एक मिनट मेरा कैमरा वर्क क्यों नहीं आ रहा है, मैं फिर से करता हूँ।
आशीष पांडे जी भी बहुत अच्छी मतलब अच्छे आवाज है उनकी।
जी सर थैंक यू सर।
मतलब आशीष पांडे जी की जो आवाज है, मतलब वो, और मैंने दो लोगों का अमिताभ बच्चन की डायलॉग डिलीवरी बहुत अच्छी है, उसकी डायलॉग नहीं कर सकता है, इसमें कोई शक वाली बात नहीं। तो उसी टक्कर में मैं आशीष पांडे और मैडम को देखा, सीमा अरोड़ा मैडम बढ़िया बोल रही थी।
थैंक यू सर।
चलिए सर ठीक है सर, अगर स्टार्ट कर दीजिए, मैं अपना।
So good morning to all the participants. On behalf of SSIPMT Raipur, I welcome our today's speaker, Dr. R.N. Patel sir. So we are going to start our session 10 of this 1-week online teachers training program. Now I request Professor Ashish Pandey to start the session.
Thank you so much, sir. I am glad to have the opportunity to introduce Dr. R.N. Patel in front of our dear participants. Sir, you have accomplished PhD and MTech from Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, India. Sir, you received MTech from IIT Delhi as well and graduate degree in electrical engineering from SGSITS Indore. His main 4 fields of interest include programming and optimization, application of artificial intelligence techniques, design of intelligent controllers, power system stability, and renewable energy system. Dr. Patel has served at various faculty positions at Bhilai Institute of Technology and Science, BETS Pilani, Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, and Sri Shankaracharya Technical Campus, Bhilai. Currently, sir, you are Associate Professor in Department of Electrical Engineering in National Institute of Technology, Raipur. Sir has presented his research at various international journals and conferences and organized many tutorials, workshops, and conferences. Dr. Patel is a recipient of prestigious Career Award for Youth Teachers from All India Council of Technical Education, New Delhi. Sir has also authored a book, Programming in MATLAB, a problem-solving approach, with Pearson in year 2014. Sir is a pioneer behind establishment of first business incubator of Chhattisgarh state with the financial support of Ministry of MSME, Government of India. Among his other initiatives are establishment of first IEEE student branch and first NPTEL local chapter in the state of Chhattisgarh. A senior member of IEEE, Dr. Patel serves as branch counselor of IEEE student branch, NIT Raipur. As professor in charge of E-Cell of NIT Raipur, Dr. Patel is strongly involved in social innovation with a vision to benefit and economically empower the rural population and youth of the country. With his explicit view, he plays a lead role in implementing the Startup India mission in Chhattisgarh to promote an outcome-based innovation and research. Now I request Dr. R.N. Patel, sir, to please educate us about NISP 2019 in context of NEP 2020. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ashish sir, for your wonderful introduction. And thank you, Patra sir. Many thanks to respected R.N. Khare sir for inviting me. It's very nice to be with all of you today. Just Patra sir, help me if there is any issue. Okay, so in either hearing me or because I'm in the college, so the network is sometimes an issue, so please inform me, right? Am I audible, Patra sir? Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining this session. It's a very important session which I feel is very important because as you heard about me, I have been working on incubation space from last 8 years actively, and I got the first incubation center in Chhattisgarh. So basically, this topic is very important for everyone because you see that today is the time for innovation. And this policy talks about, you heard about not many things about what do you call education policy, NEP. But in the education policy, that is a long-term policy. Okay. So why this policy, new policy? It's not new policy. It's a part of education policy. I present in that way. Rather, it's one of the goals, which is immediate goal. If we want to, stand our position of India in the global space, this policy is a very immediate policy that we have to implement. Especially, you see, our competition with China and other things, Atmanirbhar Bharat, many other things are lying on this policy, and government has released this policy. And as I said, this policy immediately is to be applied, because the other policy is in long term, 2030 for 40. That is the goal of that NEP. But here we all has to apply this policy very promptly to achieve some of the goals of the NEPs, in a short range. So that's what I would like to tell you about. So before I proceed to this, let me start my presentation. 1 second, please. So I am share. Okay, so how many of you have heard about this policy? First question. So in between, you can answer my questions. So wherever you feel like, you can ask questions, and you can use chat box for the questions. So anybody has heard about this policy, NISP? We call it actually, the NISP policy. Has anybody heard about it? Please answer, because I want to know how many of you are. Anybody implementing this policy in the institution? Because it was released in 2019, and since then, many institutions have implemented it already. So any answers, quick answers about this? Have you heard about this policy? No. Sailesh Deshmukh sir has not heard about it. All right. Anybody else? Have you heard about this policy? No, nobody. Because, okay. You may not even heard about this policy. Okay. Nitin sir, Rachana. Okay. Nobody's heard about this policy. Okay. So that's good. So I can speak anything because you have not heard about it. Okay. No. I'll try to help you, understand it better. Yeah. So let's go forward. So basically, this policy is a little surprising that you've not heard about this. So actually, it has been have you heard about this ranking of area ranking? Anybody? ARIIA. Okay. What is that area ranking? Have you heard about it? Right? Yes or no? There is an IRF ranking. Okay. Malvika Tiwari, madam, has heard about it. Okay. Can you tell me, madam, what is the area ranking? What is the basis of that ranking? Malvika, ma'am. Yeah, have you heard about this? Malvika, ma'am, you want to speak?
This call is now being recorded.
You said yes, Malvika Tiwari, ma'am. You want to speak? What is area ranking? Okay, maybe you're not so much aware about it. Just checking once more. Am I audible, Patra sir? Yeah? Coordinators, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Audible.
Okay, because nobody answers. Okay. So somebody says, Shri Kumar said analysis ranking of institution, innovation ranking. There's a little mistake, Shri Kumar sir, in your answer, but anyway, it's partly correct. All right, so let's go forward. So this policy NISP was Atal ranking. Okay, yeah. So Atal ranking innovation and innovation achievements, right? That's what Atal ranking of institutions on innovation achievements. So we'll talk about it in brief about the area ranking also at the end. But this actually, let's talk in context of NEP 2020, how this policy fits in. Okay, in a short range. So this is actually about, before I talk about the startup policy, because this policy actually, what do you call, it talks about innovation in a startup, and the goal is a startup. So we'll first discuss about what is a startup. So let's talk about this. So this is actually a Startup India, which I'm associated for last about 6-7 years with this, and have been guiding my students. I'm sure if you hear this discussion carefully, you can also do many things for the students in your institution, right? So actually, now this हिंदुस्तान में ऐसा कोई जिला ना हो, ब्लॉक ना हो जहाँ स्टार्टअप शुरू ना हो. This is a mission of Startup India, this thing, policy of Government of India, released by the Modi ji. Okay, and what is a startup, by the way? Startup actually, okay, before I show the next slide, let me ask you, what is a startup? Anybody, please. What do you understand by startup? You can answer in chat, you can answer, you can speak up, or whatever is comfortable to you. What do you understand by startup? How is it different from a regular business? Okay. Anybody?
New ideas.
Okay. Yes, sir. Please. What is a startup?
New ideas, sir. New ideas are new innovation.
Okay. Okay. What else? What else? New innovation. Is it, is it enough to have innovation, or something else is required? To plan implementation with new ideas. That is Shailesh Desmukh's answer is that. Okay. Anybody else? Any other answers quickly? What is actually a startup? Business with some innovative idea. That's a little close. Better answer. Arindam. Okay. So now actually you got a clue of it. These are the three definitions of a startup. Oh, okay. It has to be new. New in the sense not more than 10 years old. Okay. Let me analyze these words. Then not more than 10 years old. Okay. But since the time of its registration, its turnover should not exceed more than 100 crores. It was actually initially it was some 10 crores. Now they have increased to 100 crores. Okay, in any financial year. Okay, and it's working towards innovation, development, deployment of commercialization of new product, process, or service. This is important. So it should have innovation or development or deployment or commercialization of new product. Either it has to be a new product or a new process or a new service. So these are three things. Either newness or innovative component should be there in product or a process or a service. That is actually leading to some IPR. So the entity should have been formed not by splitting the old one. Like Reliance cannot be called a startup because it's not split up, or your own old business cannot be named as a new startup. So that's what these are the criteria for a startup. So now actually this is actually definition given by this the Government of India's the Department of Industries, right? So this definition is applicable for any startup. So it has to be less than 10 years old. But the most important one is this one. This third one. It has to be new product, a new process, a new service. Any examples of this? Any examples from your side? How are any startup which is having new product, any startup which is a new process, any startup which is having new service? Anybody? Product-based startup, process-based startup, service-based startup. You have there many examples of it. Some of them are very, very close to Zomato. Very good. Is with Uber. Yeah, these are what? Zomato. Rachna says, right? So Zomato and Uber are what kind of things? They are process or service or what? Or product. So yeah. So service, yes, the service based. So service is okay. What about the process? What about the product? Yeah, product. Anything that you know about new product that is a startup? Many. There will be many actually. One of them is what do you call? I know you may have many things. LED is itself is not a product, but yeah, it has to be a company. But in one way you're right. But LED itself cannot be called a startup. But Paytm, okay, very good. Paytm is a process. Yeah, good. So Paytm, all these things are actually, but may not be a startup now because they have crossed the turnover. So, but it is one example. At one time, this Paytm would have been the startup. Okay, till the time it reached to the budget of 100 crores. So these are we are actually driven by these things: Ola, Uber, Paytm. These are all startups, and Google Pay and all those things. But Google Pay, of course, is a big company, so it may not be a startup. So, but anyhow, you got an idea about it. New product can be many. Like some of my students, even actually initially I started incubation center in Chhattisgarh in Shankaracharya Bhilai campus. So it was first to the state, and I have got at least 3 or 4 students who have reached to the turnover of 10 crores plus. So they are doing very well. There are Tech B company. There are one more, Mr. Harsh Jain. He is making new product. He is making the solar based many things like grass cutting machine and all those things. These are new products, so that can be a startup. Let's go forward. So these are examples of new product startup, new process, or new service based startup. So this, for example, if you manufacture a regular furniture, it cannot be called a startup. But if you manufacture some, let's say, ergonomic chairs which are for the back pain, if they are actually suitable for the back pain, then you can call it as a startup. Similarly, service can be like then like a power plant, which is actually normal power plant, is a service. Power is a service, electricity. But if it is a solar-based power plant, it is actually also a startup. Similarly, the process can be many. Okay, insurance companies, like this is a process, and insurance where new way of doing insurance can be a startup. Similarly, a store. You all know this. In the COVID time, we got an online store. It's a new process, right? So that's what they define like that. So it's a new way of process of delivering. Okay, that is the way to delivering was always there, but through Kirana store. But now online store is there. It's the process of delivering goods. So that's also a startup. Okay, one second, please. Let me stop this to avoid this noise. Yes. Yeah, we are here. So now let's go forward to this. Now you got an idea about the startup. Now let's talk about the policy of startup. Okay, so this is actually Startup India portal where you can find a lot of things about the startup. The resources are here, startupindia.gov.in, and this portal provides you a lot of details about service providers, the financial supports, and many things like who are the IPR. If you want to file a patent as a startup, it is much easier and much faster, much cheaper. So similarly, all those things you can find here, patent attorneys and all those things, and recommendation letter, documents, all these things are actually given, the template, so that you can register your company or as a startup company. So by the way, this policy has a lot of things about the faculty also. So please pay attention. You all can open your own company in the institute. Let me give good news as per this policy. So even while working or teaching, you can actually have your own company. So let's go for it. These are the other things about this portal, which gives a lot of notifications, a lot of other kind of events happening all over India. So you can go through this portal and I'll share this slide with all of you. So these are some benefits to the startup. If you register as a startup, you can get the support from government as a legal support. So they'll give you some kind of legal support, like even your IP filing and all. So IPR support and even the company filing, they can provide some guidelines for that. And exit process. Okay, the most important is funding. This thing, you get a lot of fundings are there. Okay, government has introduced many fundings for these startups, and even institutes are getting now. AICTE also has released this I think ITBI, right? So ITBI is DST. So DST has TBI funds that goes up to ITBI is for 5 crores. So many of you may have applied it. At least those of you are aware about ITBI. If you type, 5 crore funding is provided by government for every institution. Similarly, there are many other kinds of fundings that is there. But for the startup funding, there is also these are fund of funds and then credit guarantee fund. These are the schemes of the government of India. And tax, once you have a startup company, you don't have to pay a lot of many tax. This tax is exempted for about 5 years or so. So that you can see the notifications. And the most important is incubation also. That once you have a startup, you can get the incubation funds. And especially this TBI funding is actually incubation fund. So there are many incubation centers. You can also take part into different kinds of competitions like Ideathon and Hackathon. Those things are there, and you can get grants for that. And a lot of competitions happening, and a lot of incubation centers are offering support to the office space. And we also are doing it in Raipur. Many of these incubation things we are trying to implement. I'll show you about that. So the interesting thing is that most of the startups fall into the young group. Okay, as of now, they are in the less than 35 years age. Okay, you see the graph here. So this is highest percentage goes to this group, where these young people. This is very relevant for all of us because government has envisioned this policy, which I'm going to talk about, is talking about we should promote startup from college, because those are the students who have highest potential and they are the highest number. And when once you support them, they can change the face of a country. Okay, so that's what is this thing. So these are some data for that, college graduates and all these people who are actually having startup. Now let's come to this main core of this discussion. This NISP, in short, we call it, the full form for that is National Innovation and Startup Policy 2019. I am fortunate to tell you that when it was formed, at that time, I was part of this recommendation committee. It actually, the policy draft came to every college and they were asking for advice. So I added 3 or 4 points which was included in this policy. So by my suggestions were also taken into this. One of the suggestions I gave is that faculty leaves should be allowed for their startup activity. So government has included that also in the policy. So like you have the EL and CL. So you can use that your vacations for you can take leave from the college as a just to tell that I have to now go for my business dealing, or I have to go for my this. So that is a valid thing that you can actually take the leaves for all this earned leaves and casual leaves you can use for your startup activity. So basically, these are the things that there are many other things. Let's come to this. So this was launched in the September 2019. So I was, as I said, some of my points were given before this. So actually, they were included in this policy. So now this policy actually is for HEIs. So as you see, the first thing is the higher education institutions. This policy focuses on not school education, like NEP is for all-round education. But this policy is not for not defined for school and other things, or these are for the higher education. There may be BSc colleges or BCom or any graduate colleges, right? In engineering, all those medical, they are subject to this policy. And this should be, it's for the students, it's for the faculty, it's for the alumni, it's for all those people. So this is very instrumental in promoting entrepreneurship in the society. Let's go forward. So now what is the objective of this policy? Like NEP also says, National Education Policy, that focuses on, you may have heard about this, I'm not going to discuss those points directly, but sometimes I'll refer to those points. Like the focus is on practical learning in NEP. Similarly, in this also, the objective is the practical learning or implementation of the technology. So the guidelines of the policy, which enables to these institutions to actively engage the students, faculty, and staff in innovation and entrepreneurship. This is what we call in NEP as what do you call internship. The internship is meant for innovation. So these internships they're introducing from the school in NEP 2020. So the interns actually should be promoted, and those interns should do innovation. Because the government is visioning the institutions to be the center of innovation. Okay, like if you see in many countries in the world, the innovations happen inside the campus. So a lot of things which are developed, including the Android phones and many of the technology of mobile communication, were actually part of. They're not developed from industries. They were developed by the institutions, the colleges. That is the situation. So in the US and other countries, a lot of things, research happens in the institutes, not in the industry. So even the industry, I visited IIT Chennai's campus. They have a big incubation center, and this is the biggest in India. And then IIT Bombay, all those places, they are actually hosting their students. And I saw in IIT Chennai 10 lakh square feet of area dedicated for incubation. So IIT Chennai is working as a leader, and they are hosting many medical companies and other companies which are doing the research inside the institute. That is basically incubation center. So basically the objective is to enable the institutes to be active in the innovation and entrepreneurship. So they are envisioning the institutes to be more active than industries in this thing. So that's what even there in NEP says about the practical learning that should be transformed into products or some kind of a new service. So now this second objective is to this is very important, to provide concrete recommendation and guidelines to HEIs. Here HEI means higher education institutions, which all engineering, medical, all the science colleges are under the HEIs, for developing entrepreneurial agenda managing IPR ownership. So this gives the guidelines for entrepreneurship, IPR, technology licensing, commercialization, and so many other things about that is for the startups, right? So that is what is the policy about. What is the problem? Why this policy was brought into the picture? Why so many policies have suddenly come up? Because as the NEP also says that in our education system, the rote learning was promoted. Now you may have heard about this. In place of practical knowledge, we are imparting the rote learning. Therefore, NEP also brings this point very much that we have to shift our focus to practical. They have introduced internship from the school days. So basically, this policy also talks about that in higher education also, not only in the schools. Let me ask you this question to you. How many projects, please listen to this carefully. How many projects do you do in your college per year? Major project, not mini project. Mini project may be many. Like you may have some, say, students. So every student has to do a project. So how many total number of projects will be happening? Think about it. And the number you may not be able to think, but let's say in India, how many projects are made every year? And out of those projects, so this question you can answer. Out of those projects, from BTech project, or MTech project, or PhD project, let's talk about all the three, because this policy talks about all the higher education. So it may be actually BTech level, MTech level, PhD level. So how many of those projects, whether it's a PhD research, whether it's a MTech project or BTech project, how many of them are actually converted to any product or any useful process or service? Percentage wise, what is your data? Can you answer that? Suppose they say 100 projects is done in a college. Out of 100, how many are actually useful as a innovation or as a product in the market? Any guess? 10? Oh, this Celeste, sir, you are great. The number is very, I don't know, you are from which college, Celeste? Sir? Which college are you from?
Sir, Kalinga University.
Sorry?
Kalinga University, sir.
Okay, Raipur.
Kalinga University, New Raipur, sir.
So this is a big number. Out of 100, you are getting 10 products every year. Okay, it's a little higher estimate, I think. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Celeste. Anybody else? How many out of 100 projects that you do in your BTech, MTech projects, how many of are usefully converted as a product or as any new, it's useful, it's coming to market? No, this is what? No, I'm asking about how many of them are converted as a useful product. This is number for Harshvardhan Gupta, sir. What is this number? This is for India. Is it for India? This number? Number of projects you're saying about? Okay, anyway. So my question is, how many percentage of those products are actually, the projects are converted as an end result? They go towards, some kind of a commodity, which hardly 1%. Yeah, you're right, Sheetal, madam. So basically, hardly 1%, even less than that. We are not converting our projects as a product. We are not converting our project as a innovation. We are not converting it as IPR. We are simply dumping it into some sorry, mute your phone, please. We're dumping them into some dump yard, and that is the situation. This problem is recognized by this policy. This policy says that, please mute your phone. Please. Whose phone is on? Yeah, 1 second, please. Yeah, somebody's okay, please. Yeah. So actually, we are dumping them into dump yard, and basically, they are not useful. So the Indian higher education institutions are not the epicenter. They are epicenter of education. Basically, they are not epicenter of innovation is not epicenter. Innovation is not focused. We are focusing on some kind of academic learning. So this even NEP talks about it. So we know this policy is to bring this culture of innovation, into the institutions. As I was saying that many universities are hosting the industries research especially in foreign countries. All the industry research is happening in the industry, in the college. Okay, yeah, okay, fine. So now actually, this is the idea of this policy is to create business, which is successful in the market. So even if you convert a product, please listen carefully. Even if your students convert a product, like they may say have some kind of a, say, drone or something else. So everybody is making a drone, but how many of drones are actually marketable? That is important. This policy talks about bring a product that is market ready, that is successful in the market. Probably we're trying to beat China. How will it happen? So I have heard about from many lectures of Mr. Abhay Jere. He's the Chief Innovation Officer of Government of India. He says that, to beat China and other countries, we have to bring massive number of students to innovate the products. Like even we are borrowing, even today, we don't have, LED lights are coming from China. So a lot of things are coming from China. So to compete at that level, we must bring our innovations to our institutions, and every student project should be potentially converted to a successful, not only product, but financially successful, marketable product in the market. That is what is the objective of this policy. So this policy has many provisions for this. Okay. So first is that we'll talk about these major points of this policy. The major area is these are the areas of what are the governance principles that's required. What is the innovation pipeline? How to bring human resources, how to promote faculty for this cause, and students, how to give incentives and benefits to the students who are innovating, and faculty also. What are the norms? Faculty also can have their own industries. Very important. Please listen carefully. Is for you. That's, you may have extra source of income. Government is encouraging you to not only do your regular teaching, but innovate, bring companies, maybe with your students, form startup and earn from that, and give the generate revenue for the country of India. And it talks about incubation support, IPR ownership, and teaching learning should also change. So even the NEP talks about changing the teaching learning to more, as we say, that internship oriented. So here the internship word is not used here, the innovation word is used. So it's the same thing. So the innovation, basically internship should lead to innovation. That's the end goal. So once the student learns some vocational training that NEP talks about, the vocational learning is also emphasized even in this policy. So that's for that purpose you can also have collaborations. So these are the aspects of this, and there is a method for having assessment. Okay, these are the things. So these are the main highlights of this policy. As I said, once again, repeating for those who joined late. So we are discussing a new policy which is actually already implemented by many institutions. The policy is called National Innovation Startup Policy 2019, and this is immediately to be applied. Unlike the NEP, which is actually long term, this is a quick implementation. It's an immediate need of our. We have to implement it. This policy actually has following major points for your college. This is for the higher education only. So basically, the first thing is that every higher education institute, please pay attention. This has a direction from government that every higher education institute should set aside 1% of their in total budget. Say your budget is say 100 crore. So 1 crore, say for 100 crore maybe too much. Maybe let's say 10 crore for some colleges. So out of 10 crore, 1 crore you have to devote for innovation. That's what is the major guideline. Next, so this innovation fund can be used for. I'm actually happy to share with you that SIPMT is actually very active in this kind of innovation and other activities. So even I participated. So they are trying very hard, their faculty, the students, to really come up with the innovative product. So it's a very good sign. So every institution should have 1% of the budget for this purpose. Okay. And then there is another thing is that for every student who is innovating or a faculty, they should be given incentives. What kind of incentives? You can give them extra leaves. You can give them teaching load benefits. If the faculty is engaged in innovation, you'll give them less teaching load and academic benefits, maybe some promotion benefits. So those are all things mentioned in this policy. And IPR. So IPR, if a faculty has IPR, patent of any kind, patent or IPR has many things actually, not only patent, but also your design registration, and all those come under copyright. So all those come under IPR. So the IPR major share of this goes to the faculty or the student, not to the college. So only this 2 to 5%, 9% is given to the college. The remaining part is with the faculty. So, and there is support system. So college has to give many support systems like offices, lab, for manufacturing. All those things have to be created by this. So these are the 4 pillars. So create funding, create incentives, give the other kinds of benefits, and like IPR and other ownership benefits, and also support by infrastructure and many other supports. These are the 4 things of this policy which are major points. Now let's come to it one by one. So the first thing is governance. So we will cover these points in short. All these 7 or 8 points mentioned in this slide. So we'll cover this in short. So first thing is that in terms of governance, you must have a separate, entity, preferably. So you should have entrepreneurship promotion. So everybody should feel responsible to promote innovation. So even especially the higher directors and deans, they should take care that is one of the major dimensions of the institutions, that innovation and entrepreneurship, startup. So there should be also institute policy for pre-incubation. So what is pre-incubation? Let me define this thing. So now listen carefully. So basically, when a student gets an idea, he has to convert it to so the basic thing is, the first step is the idea, new idea. Now it has to go to the market. So that is the journey. So in between, there are many phases. The first phase of that idea is the pre-incubation. Okay. What is the pre-incubation? Suppose you got an idea. Let's say I want to make let's say I want to make a drone. Okay, drone is a very common example, to deliver this medicine from this place to this place. So now the idea is there. So now you have to give some facility to the student to make the drone. So the first drone which makes it, maybe some initial funding. So give that support. You give them some lab, some electronic components. So give them those facilities, some initial money to make the drone. But then that is not ready for the market. So that is only pre-incubation. So now the drone has to be manufactured. Now he has to go to the next is incubation. So he has to now analyze that his drone is, say, X costly X rupees, and the market drone is Y rupees. And how it is better than market? He has to compare, and he has to make it market ready. So that is called incubation phase. So to make the basic idea into product is a pre-incubation, but from the product to market is incubation, right? So I hope you understand. So that is called actually incubation. So this is pre-incubation and incubation. So every idea has to have proper this support as a pre-incubation and then incubation. Incubation, when you go to market, you may also have to see competition, the price-wise, the feature-wise, and also you may have to do some market survey, and also maybe you may have to, in fact, see what is the profit margin in that. So those things, which what we call is business model. So when it comes to incubation, the business model and the funding and all those things are coming to picture. That is actually, once the idea is ready as a product, you have to bring it to market. A lot many other things are involved. Maybe a training, maybe some mentorship. Okay, all those things. Then the company filing and all those things are incubation. So this is pre-incubation, idea to product, and product to market is incubation. I hope you got an idea about it. Okay, so this is actually for all these supports, there should be 1% fund from the college for this purpose. Okay, to support this incubation and pre-incubation things. Now, how somebody may ask, this 1% is very much. How do I get the money from? So as I was telling in the beginning, there are a lot of things like ITBI and TBI and ATAL, and many schemes are there. And even AICTE has a lot of schemes like Samriddhi and other schemes which are giving you money for this purpose. So all these agencies are there where you can approach for incubation funding. I'm very happy to share that R.N. Khare sir has already got from government of Chhattisgarh some 10 crores or some amount that is there, and it's in the process, but they are trying to get that money for the VC that our college in Lakhanpur. That's now it's of course in Sarguja. So that's what they're trying to get. So no, that's even the CSVTU is trying to build many of these things. So there are agencies like DST, DBT, and MHRD, AICTE, TBD, TFAC. So all these things are supporting. MITI is the one for electronics and IT. So MSME, I actually got this fund for from this one. What do you call? From I actually got this funding from MSME for SSTC Bhilai, which was the first center of government in Chhattisgarh, right? So Chhattisgarh is first incubation center. So this gives a funding of some 3 to 4 crores rupees now. So there are many funding agencies which are funding. So this 1% fund can be also arranged from these agencies. And this also, apart from that, the now company CSR, you all understand CSR, right? So CSR is basically every company has to invest something for the society. That is CSR. So you can ask a company like Bhilai Steel Plant to give some donation to you, or you can ask your alumni to give them donation to you. To all these fundings can be used by you to create this 1% funding. Okay, you can also have next is that there should be action plan, a short-term, long-term goal for everything. Actually, we have made. I will share you the website which has now. This policy is actually a national policy, but every institute has to make his own policy. This is not to be copied as it is, because these are just guidelines. So basically, one has to approach. One has to make his own policy based on this. Okay, so that's what they're trying to do. So HEI should be driving force in developing entrepreneurship. So not only for the college, but please listen carefully, that we have to act as a society center, right? So the Ministry of Education now is planning that every institution, academic institution, has to become a center for the industries. That means local industries and local society and community. Say, for example, you see that there's a problem, especially in COVID. There is a problem of, say, let's say there is a problem of some social problem. Say, for example, vaccination. So you may have to develop some mechanism to make it available. So that kind of innovative idea you have to implement in your college. So for, let's say you have problem of drinking water. So in your college, you go to the local area and drinking water, you can have some kind of testing center and then try to develop some product that will purify the water in low cost. There is something called National Innovation Foundation. They have developed many such products. They call it grassroots innovation. So in the village level, you go there and find the problems of the community and solve it in your college. These are the practical problems. Even this NEP has a focus on solving the local problems in the colleges, and our students should be devoted for that purpose. As you all said, that less than 1% are working on the real problems. They are doing projects, but they are uselessly making the reports, but it doesn't have any value. So we have to act as a center for community, society, and industries, to innovate. And next one is that so there are many other pre-incubation. So I talked about incubation support is from these places, and pre-incubation support is from here. There is IEDC. I also implemented this policy. One second, please. There's a call coming again. Let me just try to see. 1 second. Just excuse me. 5 minutes. Sorry, there was just a second, please. Sorry for the interruption. 1 second, please. Take 1 second. Yeah, so we're discussing about this. 1 second. Let me come back to this slide. So basically, pre-incubation phase, you can actually also approach. Am I audible, Patra sir? Anybody, coordinators?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so basically, pre-incubation, as I said, you can approach IDCs. And
yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, so there are many other cells that even Startup India has some grants for this purpose. You can avail those grants to get the pre-incubation support. The pre-incubation is basically just idea to product, so that you can get funding from this. like IDC gives you 1 lakh per idea. Okay, so if you have one idea, this IDC is there. If we can explore that, so you can get 1 lakh rupees for your students who are having some potential idea. And I have actually supported. I also got this grant earlier in SSTC Bhilai. So these are the things that are available, and there should be pre-incubation facilities, which is actually this should be open 24/7. So we have make in NIT Raipur, we have called maker space, where they also call it fab labs. So you can have fabrication labs for this purpose to make it available. So now next thing is that how to I'll just try to cover some major points. Remaining things you can go through my slides. So let me cover the major points here. So now actually, so how to create an innovation pathway? Once you have the pre-incubation, now I know how to. You have first thing is that pre-incubation process. You have to make a pre-incubation policy. What are the support that you can? Sometimes we can give pre-incubation fund by your college also. So like you can give 10,000. We have in NIT Raipur, we have this. We call it a seed grant. Okay, seed grant we give for 25,000 per idea. So that is what you give to the students, and then give them some fabrication facilities to make the product into the college itself, and give them some mentorship. So this is the second one. They can also have mentors. So once you give money, it's not enough. Our faculty can be mentored actually. Okay, and if you don't have sufficient mentors, you can also go to incubation centers nearby who can give mentors. You can also approach industry people to give mentorship, because they will tell you whether the product is useful or not. The students come up with a vague idea, so you have to give them guidance. So encourage them with the other kinds of supports, okay, like events and training and workshops for the incubation entrepreneurship that is required to create a pipeline of incubation or innovation into the institute. Next is the resources, human resource, very important. There are some other points here mentioned in this policy. These are the same points from the policy, so you can go through it later on. Human resource. So what is that? You can recruit faculty. Like even this national education policy talks about, giving proper incentive to the faculty for different domains. Overall, even those faculty who are contributing or who have some exposure, experience in incubation, you should encourage them. So this is the human resource part of the policy. Even the staff, lab staff, sometimes lab staffs are very expert. They are very good to make the product. So, give them some extra benefits to the lab staff, maybe some extra incentive, maybe some overtime, work, so that they can come, students can come after the college, and the lab staff can help them to develop the product. These are very important things to, have this kind of human resource in the college. And those people who are good at this, faculty or staff, they should be given extra facilities. And in the interdepartmental work culture, this is actually in NEP, the focus is on interdisciplinary. They call it MERU, right? So I'm trying to relate some of those things to this policy. So MERU basically talks about multidisciplinary, education and research universities, right? So multidisciplinary. So this is here also the interdepartmental work culture. Rather, in the NEP, they're talking about even IIT should open some MBA, right? MBA programs, and maybe some even arts and all those things. So those kinds of facilities, if your college is providing, and there is a interdepartmental work culture among faculty, like the courses are offered from different departments, and the students have freedom to choose the courses, and also the students can mix together. Like if you have electronics student, they can combine and make a project with the mechanical students. That will be much important. So that kind of interdepartmental culture among faculty and among students is encouraged by this policy. Faculty training and reward mechanism. So if you have some kind of extra effort for product development, your college is supposed to give you extra benefits as a maybe promotion or something else. So there are many guidelines given for that. Okay, to give this kind of support to the faculty or even to the staff. Okay, those are things mentioned in this. Next one is collaboration. So suppose sometimes you may not have sufficient human resource, so you can collaborate. So you can have collaborate with the other agencies like industries in nearby other colleges who are having this thing. Suppose let's say IIT Bhilai has some facilities, so you can have MOU with them to promote the innovation into your students, and your students can combine with IIT Bhilai students and combine them together to give them some extra lab facilities and sorry, manufacturing facilities and so on. So in the ecosystem basically means that you may actually provide some maybe all kinds of supports like infrastructure, offices, and all those things. In even the facility for communication, ecosystem includes also your digital facilities like computer center, conference rooms. A lot of things are there in the ecosystem. So that kind of ecosystem is to be built where the students have all the needs of the students to develop this product into their project into product can be can be possible. So that's what this policy talks about. So now the next one is about incentives. Very important. This is very good for all of us. Listen carefully. So faculty recruitment. I already talked about it. So you recruit the faculty who has developed some products. So let's say, or who has guided somebody. So if you mentor a student to develop a product take it to market, you should be given as in your resume that will reflect as a extra merit, and you will be encouraged by people. Yeah. So yes. So basically, you'll be the college will be college should recruit such people into the as a faculty or a staff. So okay, sorry. I think I already talked about this interdepartmental culture. I think Sorry. Yeah, we're here. So yeah, faculty training and reward mechanism. So basically, faculty training. So because we are not used to have business. Say, for example, we may be very good in technology. The problem is that we are not very good in business. So it's one thing to make it. It's like you see in India, not only in India, all over the world, the what do you call the Sindhis and Punjabis, they're very popular in running their business. So basically, they are driving stores. So basically, they have they may not be very much educated in technology, but they have very business idea, business oriented mind. Like you see Gujarat and other states, they are very much business oriented. So that kind of training is also required. How to make a business model for your students. So that training is required for faculty. Like this program is a different kind of program. It's giving you training for this course, academic curriculum. There should be similar training for how to make an idea into business. What kind of market survey is required? How to make this SWOT analysis? Maybe some management ideas. So this kind of training is required, and maybe that some kind of funding can maybe provided for the students and faculty to get this training. Okay, and this should be also, once you have this training, they should be also given some benefit for your annual performance. That's what is encouraged. So now actually you can also have linkage to industry, because once you have industry linkages, then only you can actually think about their needs. So there should be regular visit to industry. So even this NEP has the idea of vocational learning. So that basically they're saying that learn from carpenters, learn from other kinds of people who are in the system. Similarly, learn from industries. Maybe invite industry people to give lectures. So mutual. Maybe in fact in Raipur we are trying to make. We are implementing that all the MTech projects should be guided by one person from industry, not one person from college. Maybe that is very good law. Make compulsory guidance from one industry person, at least for the case of the products. So one guide from the industry, one guide from the college. I'm also guiding some of the students from MIT University in Noida. They have a policy that one guide for the PhD students should be from outside. So they are either from industry or from other college. So similarly, you can have industry linkages in your curriculum. Okay, and yeah, and one more thing is that we have time up to 12 o'clock, right, Patra sir? What is the time to finish? Yeah,
sir, 11:30, sir.
Oh, what is the time?
12 o'clock, sir, 12 o'clock.
Okay. Let me go a little faster. Thank you. So actually, exchange of knowledge. So we can actually have expert lectures. Sorry, can mute your phone, please. Expert lectures, and you can have all other kinds of programs which are basically product driven, not just academic driven, which are basically market driven programs. That is required, because once again I want to emphasize that we want to do away with China. So how it is possible? Everybody has to work together to be able to actually do this task. So and the government is counting on the institutes to do this task, because the institutes are many, but whereas industries are limited. Okay, they cannot devote their time for innovations. They have to do their production. So our innovation should happen in our institutes. So this is next thing, nurturing innovation among the students. So this is what actually is a major focus of this point. The most important actually section of this policy is this third section. They actually, in fact, the document you can Google. We just type NISP 2019. We get the whole document. It's about some 45 pages of policy. So it states that you should nurture the startup among students and faculty. So, okay, how it is possible? There is a lot of section on this. Some of the things I will mention here. So there should be IPR cell in every college. So in like incubation center, every institute should have incubation cell and IPR cell to provide supports. Okay, and they should collaborate with the maybe other people. Interdisciplinary research and publication on startup. So should be promoted by universities. So there should be interdepartmental research. And this is also, NEP also says that students should be given choice to learn any subject from any department. So that even the faculty should be given choice to teach any department. So that is what is possible. So yeah, so sometimes the faculty needs exposure. So they may be sent to the industries to get training. So there is an institution called EDII Ahmedabad, which gives you training for this kind of things. EDII Ahmedabad. Actually, they also run many training programs. So if you approach EDII and you can send your faculty for training, they will be able to actually learn a lot of things about entrepreneurship. They also have some short-term courses, EDII Ahmedabad, right? So you can explore that. So actually, the student, the faculty, and the staff should be given some reward. The reward system may include what is very important line here. So you can give reward as an extra leave. You can give extra office space or maybe lab space, okay, for these activities. You can have extra lab, especially for the product development. Okay, reduce teaching loads, very good. So the policy recommends that those teachers who are into the product development, their teaching should be reduced. So this kind of incentives you provide it, so the things will develop in time. So yeah, so these are other things, right? Guest teachers and other fellowships. You can also give some fellowships like internship when they have. Actually, we have also developed in IIT Raipur a mechanism called startup internship. So please listen to this carefully. So your student need not go to industry. They are having summer vacation. They are going for summer training. Why not they spend their time in their product development? Don't send them to industry. Industry, they don't learn much sometimes. So somebody has got an idea. He's very busy in exams. But after the exams, 1 month or 2 months summer vacation, at that time you can actually have them in internship in their own idea. So give them as a summer training in their own product. So once they develop a product, that is equivalent to summer training, and then you can give also some fellowship for that purpose. Okay, so that's what is mentioned here. So these are very important things. The other incentives. So the incentives actually for the students can be like it also talks about attendance benefits. So attendance rule should be less. If some student is busy in developing product, don't force him to come to the class. Okay, maybe he can devote some extra time for this product. So that kind of incentive. So here it talks about many incentives. For example, allow students to set up startup. That means he can register his company while working. Even faculty can register his company and even earn from that company, right? Allow his students to earn credit points. Okay, that means if he has developed some product or some kind of a business model, you can give him some benefit of a project. So ask him to do minor project in this business model. So you don't have to like even in NEP says that learning is not just compartmentalized. Electrical engineer can also develop a business model. So it is also equal to project. So the project should not be within the college in the department. The project can be any kind of business model or any kind of even management things that he is learning. You give him as a minor project. So allow the mechanical or electrical students to develop a minor project in business model. He can make his business model for a report for that, and maybe a market survey can also be a project. So allow them to have this kind of benefits to do any kind of learning. So students should be allowed to opt. Here is mentioned explicitly in place a mini project, minor project, okay, and summer training. What is allowed? Opt for startup. So they may not. You don't send them to industry. You may actually ask him to do a project in his idea. So that is also possible. Allow students to take semester break, very important. So this is also one of the NEP's guideline that, there's something called, multiple entry, multiple exit. So it's also very much fits into this policy that, a student may break for 1 year, okay, and again join. It's mentioning here, suppose a student, second year student got a very good idea. Now he wants to devote full time for his product. So give him a 1 year leave. So he can actually break in second year. And as we say in NEP, they call it as a first is certificate, then they got diploma, then they get degree. So after diploma, he can take one break. And then in that break time, he can develop his product. And maybe he can have some market model. And then after that, he can actually establish his company. And after 2 years of doing business, he again joins the college and continues this study. This kind of facility should be given to the students to be able to, because idea cannot wait, right? So, you are in second year, but you got an idea. So in 1 more year, somebody else will copy that. So let's immediately develop it idea and develop the market, for that product. So that is actually allowed for the students and faculty also to take 1 year or 1 semester break and then come back, to after working for the company. Allowing students to sit for examination, very important, even if the attendance is less than 75% or whatever you have. So if the attendance is 50%, even then allow them, because he is busy in developing his product. So it sounds to be a little bit odd, but it is actually because he has to ultimately clear his exam. Doesn't matter if he's coming to class or not. So that's what this policy recommends, that give them some concession to get extra, because they need time for developing the product or developing their business. Actually, I'm talking about product, but it doesn't have to be product always. It can be any app. It can be any kind of service, anything that and even he market some kind of a marketing app and some whatever it is. So to develop that, they need time. So allow students to use the address of the office address as a company address, as a college address, right? So that's what you have to allow. So for faculty, what is in store for faculty? Same thing for faculty also. All the incentive for the students, there are like the faculty can be owner of, it can be director of a company. So earlier only IITs were allowing it. Now you also, everybody in this, the policy says that every institution should allow their faculty to own their own company. I hope you are getting my point. You can also be director of a company. You can be owner of a company. You can be mentor of a company. You can be in any position, as a shareholder. All those things are allowed for you to, generate revenue for yourself and for society. Faculty startup may consist of faculty members. So you can also combine. So say, for example, your student is working with you and as a PhD, and both of you got an idea and you develop a product in a registered company. So you're a student and you can be also director of a company, and both of you can start a new company and try to promote that company, and that is also possible. And basically that is very much encouraged. But make sure that there is also a clause of conflict. This should not be interfering your college time. They say that you can be allowed to do about 20% of your office time for this purpose, but remaining 80% of time you must do all your duties properly. Those are the kind of conflicts also. These are also given in the guideline. You should not avoid your duties, but you may be given some concession. That's what is mentioned. In case of faculty holds executive position, suppose you are chief executive. If you cannot be a full time, full time you cannot go for company. You can have part time, your contribution to the company, but full time you have to give it for your college. But if you want to go full time, you have to take leave, especially the sabbatical leave or without pay leave. But your seniority and other things will be mentioned. Yeah, Ashish sir is a question. Yeah, I will discuss about it, Ashish sir. What is he saying? How can a faculty manage a startup successfully with academic institution works? Yeah, Ashish sir, this is actually, your question is very valid. But again, I'm saying that you are having your weekend time, you are having your leave benefits. You can combine all those things and promote your startup. Okay, you may not be full-time engaged, but part-time you can definitely do that. That is what I was mentioning just now, that you can actually devote part-time of your time to do that. And in fact, it says that even 15 to 20% of your college time you can use, but only without compromising your duties. Is it clear? If you are able to teach the course in less time, Ashish sir, I'm giving an answer. if your lab and teach course duty are fulfilling in less time, if you're more efficient, you can be allowed by college to devote your extra time into the startup. I hope you're clear. So that is what, without compromising a duty. These kind of guidelines that the college has to set up. That's what is mentioned. I hope you understand. We'll discuss it at the end also. So if you're selected outside, then you may actually go outside abroad for a period of maybe 6 months or 1 year, and you can spend the time. There are many, like Silicon Valley has a lot of incubation centers. You can go there for training, for exposure, and come back to college. Then you will be actually contributing to the college. So the college will also invest for you, to train you. Going abroad or going to other IITs, you can spend time in IIT Bombay or IIT Chennai, learn from them, come back to college, develop infrastructure for the students, their product, for the companies, and then help them. So incentives can also be like, and I think we talked about it earlier also, IPR benefits. Okay, IP ownership is yours. It's mostly your major share of the IP goes to you. This is also again thing. You can also go for a semester or year outside. You can also use. This is the point which I actually added. My suggestion was added in this point. Allow faculty and staff to take off. So this is an answer to Ashish sir also. You can actually allow them to take leave. Like you may have some every month one leave. You can use it for business, unpaid leave, casual leave, earned leave for working. So you can also actually apply that to tomorrow. I'm not coming to college because I have to go for my company's promotion. So that's fine. You are using your own leave. You have a right to use your leave. Those kind of things you can use. So that's what this policy says. So you can also have shares and okay. So but there is some limit also. So it's 20% share only you can have because you are already a full-time employee. So that these are there are some kind of conflicts also. We have to satisfy them. So actually, faculty, I already mentioned these things. So these are all extra details you can read afterwards. So yeah, Asha ma'am, is possible for colleges also. Private colleges also is actually allowed. This is not only for government colleges. This is for all colleges. The policy recommends for every college. Okay, so you can actually talk to your college management about it.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I'm 100% agree with you, whatever you are saying, and all are very much interested in having various ideas also for the implementation. But nowadays, all are busy 24/7 in the online classes, deadlines, and so in that case, it is very difficult to find out the time and the leave. That is everyone's problem, sir.
No, but you have your leave, right? Saturday, Sunday, you have your time, but you can change your college also if required. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Then I will join NIT.
Yeah, of course. Same thing with NIT, madam. You will be doubly loaded. So I have become more loaded in NIT. I was more free in SSTC. So this is actually a fact. So anyway.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. But there is also something like you cannot use your lab staff and your student for your projects. Basically, they have to develop their projects, not your projects. So it's try to understand that you cannot use illegal methods. What they're saying is that you can use the legally what is possible. Basically, what is the idea is that you can be open to the college that I'm doing this, and the college should promote it. But you should not use your study time or teaching time for that purpose. You cannot skip your classes, but you can manage those things. College can help you to manage these things in a way. For example, let's say there is a very famous this thing that many times the doctors, they do their duty, they also have their private duty. So I think they're legalized. So even if they're not legalized, this policy says that legalize those things if they're not compromising their duties. So that's what it says. So it is little sensitive area, but it has to be thought about. So now actually entrepreneurship institute level, the value for entrepreneurship. So basically another important thing is that awareness is important. Why? Sometimes people feel that if I go for entrepreneurship, my job will be hampered. I know it's a different thing. Actually, fact is that you can be better candidate for a job. So value of entrepreneurship and role in career development. So I'm asking you that if you are actually trying for, if your student is trying for a business and he fails, he is better for a even for industry. Why? Can you answer that question? Anybody? If the student is actually trying for an industry, developing his product or developing a market, and he fails in that, still the companies hire that person. There was a lecture which I organized a few years back where there was a very famous author of this book. She was saying that a failed entrepreneur is the choice for the many companies. Can anybody explain this to me? Why it is so? He's not a loser. If you try for business, if you fail, you're not a loser. You can gain even then. Did you understand my point? Anybody wants to explain that? Okay, maybe at the end we'll discuss. Why? Because he actually has a lot of exposure to failure. Okay, and he handles the failure, and maybe actually he learned many things. So that is useful for the industry also, if they hire you, because the many things learned by this practical experience. So experiential learning by training is also important. So you have to also, like many competitions, hackathons. So SSYPMT organizes many things like this every year. So all these things are now it's encouraged by government. Even government is organizing. There is a called All India Hackathon, right? So I also was a judge for the Asian India Hackathon. So all the Asian countries, they participated into different country. People can combine together and make a team. So that kind of inter-country work also is should be encouraged by our institutions. So these are other things. I think I should skip this portion and can go through this later on. So a very important thing here is that you can also have Section 8 company. So actually sometimes what happens is that you cannot do many of these things like profit-making things from college. So this is called SPV. So we have also made a Section 8 company in NIT Raipur, and CSVTU also has already registered a Section 8 company. This company is a non-profit company which actually serves the startups. So it brings the funding for them. So you can actually many other funds like DST and other things, they are basically not allowing to the college. They don't give the money to college. Industry cannot give money to college directly, but they can give to Section 8 company. So your college can have your own. So this is a college company, right? I hope you're paying attention. Your college can also have a company which is called Section 8 company, and this company can handle all those duties, right? So support startups and all those things. So these are the things that we can register this company that helps actually for the many purposes like grants and CSR. You can do it by this company. And the pre-incubation, incubation support, we already discussed about it. Let's go forward. So last thing is the last section, then we will have some discussion. And the learning and teaching. So, you can have, like NEP also has things like, you can have teaching which are cross-disciplinary teaching. Okay. You can have mentors. You can have case study based. So you can give the project as a case study. Say, for example, MBAs like IIMs, they give the case study of, let's say, why this Flipkart failed or why this Amazon failed. These things will be taught in the institute. So, the failure or the success, how the Ola has become successful. What are why Patanjali store have become popular? All those things you have case study for business. You can have games. You can have. We also organize e-summit every year. So in those competitions, you give them some practical business problems, and in fact technological problems also. So you can in fact give problems like what are the drawbacks of this product and how you will rectify it. Recently there was I think there was one event happening somewhere where the idea was that you find one product from the market, find the deficiency, and find how can you improve that. This kind of problems you give as a assignment, as a maybe redesign something, maybe cut down the cost of the product. So these are to be taught in the teaching learning process. That practical learning should be brought to the institute, to the classroom, and then students can think and have brainstorming and find solutions for the existing problems. So students should be developed, they should be also encouraged. So you give them money for going to competitions. Say, of course, in COVID we cannot allow them, but they can go to other institutes to participate in the competitions, and the college can give funding for them. Teaching method should include case studies. I already talked about business failures. Yeah, this is very important. So in teaching, you bring out some problems. Say, for example, you're teaching power plant. Then you talk about power plants, how the power plant, is now actually making a loss. Actually, the fact is that many power plants are at loss. So what are the reason for losses? So those kind of case study, let them do some research, why the power plants are at loss, so that that they can find out, and then actually try to think about it, okay, as a project. So these are the things. And entrepreneurship. So basically, you can also run some courses. You can teach some courses on these topics, how to develop business model, how to have different kinds of what do you call design thinking and all those topics to be taught. We are teaching 2 subjects in NIT Raipur for these 2, entrepreneurship. So they can also encourage entrepreneurs. They can also come for as a mentor, and they can help the students to they can have regular review and all those things. Curriculum development should be, you should actually bring these industry persons to develop the curriculum. Our academic curriculum is very useless, and NEP also says that we are actually encouraging only memorizing. We're not asking them. Even this COPO, Bloom's taxonomy, talks about the highest level of Bloom's taxonomy is what? Anybody? Have you heard about this lecture? Bloom's taxonomy, you know that? What is the highest level in Bloom's taxonomy? What is the lowest level and highest level? Anybody want to speak about it? Yeah, so there's something, some words. There is what's that? Understand, analyze, right? Those are the words. And then lastly, design, innovate. So innovation is the highest, design is the highest level. So, your curriculum should develop with CO and PO, which you're going to study in next lectures. That should be based on, revise this curriculum to bring the research outcome as a entrepreneurship. Okay. So these are the things. Yeah, knowledge and innovation. Okay. The student, we'll come back to this. Student innovators should be engaged in the dialogue process. So, this kind of interactive learning is to be encouraged by the colleges. Then you may have to even design some courses for this purpose. So these are, I already talked about it. The project should be based on society, real life problems. These are very much emphasized even in NEP 2020, that real life learning is to be encouraged at all levels, right from the schools. So, and the last thing is that we do many events. So many events, yeah. Thank you, Venkat sir and Lokesh. Yeah, many events we can do, but unless they come as a successful product, or it's not useful. We can do many, like e-cell, e-summit, many things. But if it is not bringing any product, how many of your students have, think about this last question from my side, then we'll have some other things to discuss. How many of your students have become businessmen? Hardly anybody. Many of them have gone to job, but how many of them become successful in business? Particularly, they may have become successful in their father's business, but their own business. Think about it. How many of them have developed their own business? How many of them have generated their job for other people? They have gone to beg for the jobs, but they have not created jobs. This is a very serious concern which this policy talks about. So let's go for this is this thing that you have. For that purpose, the teaching learning mechanism has to be changed. And okay, you may introduce corresponding elements in your teaching. Okay, that's what is recommended. So for last 2-3 slides, then we'll have some 10 minutes of discussion. So you may actually have regular performance analysis. So once it's not enough to have facilities, but you should have analyze the performance also. So you can have some performance indicators, like you can bring some people to give them marks based on their products merits and demerits. So focus on the process. And finally, the commercially successful is the important one. How many jobs are created? How much money the product can generate? That is important. Those things should be properly judged. For example, somebody is taking benefit of leave, but he's not developing any product. Even if he develops product, he's not successfully taken to market. That is not good to support such persons. If you're giving benefit to the students, you should also give them some targets to achieve. So then only you can give them benefits. That's all about it. So these are some other things that Government of India has planned for this purpose. That there's in IIC, in this Innovation Council, every institute should have this council. If you're not a part of this, you can register this in your college. This is called IIC. This is under Government of India's education, Ministry of Education now. They have this innovation cell in Government of India. So you can, once you have IIC, you can link to the Government of India's innovation cell, and they will give you a lot of support for doing these things in your college. You can also participate in the area ranking. That is actually like an IRF. There's an area ranking which is based on how many successful startup you have produced, how many IPR you have produced, how many products you have produced in your college. Those are the criteria. We can go through this criteria points. If you want me to, I can send some of this document also to you. And you can also have your own policy for the college, and you can participate in these events which are happening across the country and outside. This is a ranking which we got for NIT Raipur. In the last year, we got into the top 25 among in India. So this is this kind of certificate they provide for this thing. We got this the rank between top 11 to 25 band. This is band A. A top 10 are some other things like IIT Chennai, and they are on top 10. After that, we have got this place, and this is very important. These are two training programs, and this is the last thing very important. This website provides you. Please listen to this carefully, and this provides you policy for many institutions. So basically, outcome of this policy is that you should make your own policy. If you go to this website, you find this is the Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, Government of India, and here this is dedicated to NISP, and it talks about this is the document of the Government of India, which I was discussing right now. But there are also other components. These are the major components which we discussed in short, and we can also get this. There is also training program they're providing. Once you want to plan for this innovation policy, they give training for you. These are the training program offered by the Ministry of Education Innovation Council. Okay, and this is after you do that, you can format your policy, how to implement it. They will help you. During the training, they will help you to formulate your own policy for your college. There are two policies: pre-incubation and incubation. So those things you can design based on this. And there are these are the people who have made this, including Professor Anil Shastrabudhe, and they are the kind of team who made this policy. Okay, and finally, this is a very important thing is that here is downloads. So you can see policy of DIT University. They have made their own policy based on this policy. So every university, those who are leading, they are making their own policy. You see this policy here. This is so everybody has to make based on their condition, their limitations. Like Madam was saying, private colleges don't have. So you can actually include some of those things which are your college, can provide. Some of these things they cannot provide. So you can actually refer to this policy of other colleges. And end goal is that every college is supposed to make one policy. Like here, KIT actually is a very leading center. So this is in Bhubaneswar. They get crores of grants. So this is a policy from KIT Bhubaneswar. So once you get time, go through this so that you can actually make policy for your own college to implement this. Just like NEP also suggests that you should have phase-wise plan. So similarly, you can also go to this. And there are also other colleges, institute-wise status. You can go here, and you can also find, here, other institutes status. So it's not working. I think some issues here. I think you can explore this. This is nisp.mic.gov.in. So I hope you can see this thing. I have shared the same thing here into this. And this is a very important website to provide you all kinds of documents for NISP implementation, including training. And these are the training videos. What are the parameters for a policy? So that you can actually think about designing policy for your college in a very short range. And because this is a very immediate thing that government expects us to apply into every institute. And based on that, you can actually go for ranking of your institute. And it's a very, 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 forward steps towards the growth of the college. Okay. And then lately, last point I want to say that in future, our ranking will be more important based on innovation ranking, not based on academic ranking. So the future is for innovation, not for just academic learning. So both the policies, NEP and NISP, focus on that thing. Thank you. And any questions? We have 5 more minutes to discuss. I can wait for 10 minutes also. If you have any questions, please ask. So this is a very brief thing about this, because actually you should go to this website frequently to understand more about it. This website has everything that you need. Okay, it's a special website only for this purpose. This is the Government of India's Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell's website, and it provides you many things like every college has to nominate a faculty. I forgot to tell you that I am the coordinator for my college. You can nominate a faculty. So once you nominate this faculty, they will provide the training to the faculty, and the faculty can design all the things for your college. So it's not popping up. It's not working. Maybe some issues here, but anyway, you can go through this. There are downloads here, okay, and there are notifications like when is the training program, and all those things are given here. And there are contacts. Okay, you can contact them to call for any help. And of course, I'm also happy to help you if your college plans to implement this policy, right? So these are the components, all those things, how to make this committee, all are given in this document. Thank you. Any questions, please? Yes, please ask.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Any
Dear
questions?
participants, we are now into Q&A session, and as we could all see and learn from sir that it was quite informative session, and in a way it was one of the most important topics of this whole program, because the whole idea of reforming our education policy is to get students market ready and presentable in a dynamic way. So yeah, please we encourage all the participants to put questions in front of our dear speaker. Dear participants, please put questions. And one more thing to inform is that session 10's feedback link and quiz link is already posted in the chat.
Yeah, I'll be sharing this document also with you. And this document has many other links, so we can refer to that, like the training link and all those. So please go through that when required. Sir, you are unmute, Ashish sir. You have to unmute yourself. You are Ashish sir. You are on mute. Yeah, you're speaking something.
Yes, sir.
I
was just telling that all the participants that feedback link and session link, quiz link, is already posted in the chat. And if anyone wants to unmute themselves and just ask the question to our dear speaker, they are free to do that as well. So I would like to request all the participants put questions in either in the chat or just by yourself by unmuting. Thank you.
Requesting all the participants, if you have any query, please unmute yourself and ask the question to sir.
Okay, so Q&A session will still be on until the session is going on. But meanwhile,
am I audible to you, sir?
I would
Actually,
like to
I think
conclude
this
this very informative session.
Am I audible to you now? Sorry, am I audible to you now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are, sir.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, do we have
Actually, just hold on. Actually, some problems. Yeah.
So I'm a teacher of English. Being a teacher of English.
Clear you. I don't know about others. Hello.
Hello.
You're not very clear, ma'am. Can you speak a little bit closer to mic? Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, sir. My question is, sir, like being a teacher,
Yeah.
do I have any scope for taking up a startup or some kind of innovation?
Yeah, definitely. Why not? Because this policy is a whole, actually for that only, this policy is that everybody, whether the teacher, whether the staff, whether the student, can have his own company in the college while working. Right, ma'am? Yeah. There are many guidelines for that, but you have to refer to those. I recommend you to go to the policy of different colleges, which is given in the website, and then that will give a better idea about it. Yes, how to do that. Okay. Any other question? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So second question we have is from Dr. N. Venkatraman.
Yeah, please.
Sir, he's asking that as of now, I did not conduct any FDP program. Now, am I eligible to conduct any FDP? What is the process, sir?
This question, I think, belongs to you. I mean, FDP for what? Is it about innovation or something general FDP? I didn't listen to the question properly.
He's saying about innovation.
Innovation, okay, definitely. There is no criteria. Anybody can do that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm okay with this.
Okay, sir. So if there is any other question, please participants put in the chat. And meanwhile, I would like to, yes, definitely, indeed, it was a wonderful session.
Thank you.
I would like to conclude in a very prompt way. Sir, thank you very much for putting your effort to train us about NISP 2019 in context of NEP 2020. Sir, in a way, this was as I said, most important topic of program, because the whole purpose is to prepare get academics into a practical marketing field. So you started with the concept of and criteria of startups along with its portal and benefits that is provided by our government. So then we learned about NISP 2019 for students and faculties and all the benefits that new generation of faculties and students are getting because of educational reforms and startup reforms by the government. Then, sir, we focused on the problem in field of innovation, entrepreneurship, and marketable products, along with its solution by thrust areas and highlights, which mainly contain strategies and governments of, governance improvement, building human resource and providing incentives, collaboration and knowledge exchange by nurturing innovations and startups among the students and faculties, entrepreneurship research outcomes by supporting students and faculties for problem solving. Sir, you also provided us with very useful links that all our participants will definitely use in future. Sir, at the end, I would like to say that the main abstract of the session was to get a successful product from academic projects. So that was, we could take out from this wonderful session. And at the end, I would like to thank you again, sir. And now over to Patra, sir.
Thank you very much, Ashish sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Patel sir. Thank you very much for this wonderful and nice session.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Are you sharing my slides also to you, Professor?
Sure, sir. Sure, definitely, sir.
Yeah, you can please share to the participants.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Please feel free to contact me, any of you. Let me just last announcement from my side. If you want to implement anything about NISP in your college, I'll be happy to help you because this is one of my main focus right now. I'm trying to propagate this to different colleges. Actually, IIIT Pune, CSVTU Bhilai, GG Bilaspur, and all this. I'm mentoring them also to implement their in their colleges, in the university. Even there is a campus in what do you call management institution in Sikkim. They're also contacting me to do this. So I'll be happy to help you. We have made our own policy for NIT Raipur. I can share my own policy to you also. So that is very important because in future we have to promote these things. So that will be helpful for the institution, for the society also, because we don't have jobs. How many of you can? The idea came to my mind when I was working in SSTC Bhilai. Students are getting jobs of, say, clerk. What is the use of getting clerical jobs? And recently we conducted an interview in NIT Raipur temporary faculty. We had got some 110 applications for just two positions. So these are the situation. So only thing is that job creation is the best service for the teachers. If the teachers can think about creating jobs through these startups, that will be the best contribution of teaching faculty, because we know there are many industries, but they're all now laying off the people. They're not having jobs. So we have to create our own jobs. So that's what my appeal for all of you, and I'll be very happy to help you. Please feel free to contact me anytime you want. We can discuss more. This was just a lecture, but we can think about details of the policy and how we can implement in your college. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, if there is no other question, then I think we can log off. Patra sir?
Yes, sir.
Should I log off now? Or I'll be happy if there is anything, I can stay back for 5 minutes, but otherwise we can discuss offline sometime.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Have a nice day and happy learning.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks.
Dear participants, our next session, which is 11th session, it will start in 10 minutes only. So please do not leave the meeting. Please stay here. Our dear speaker will join momentarily. Please stay in the meeting. Thank you.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Meenakshi ma'am, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
So good afternoon to all the participants. On behalf of SSIPMT Raipur, I welcome Dr. Meenakshi Sood ma'am. Ma'am, welcome you, ma'am. Dear participant, we are going to start our session 11, and I request Professor Sumitra Samal to start the session.
Thank you, sir. A very warm greetings to one and all present over here. I, Sumitra Samal, on behalf of SSIPMT family, welcome you all to the session 11 of online joint teachers training program on the importance of outcome-based education in new education policy. We have got an eminent personality and great educator, Dr. Meenakshi Sood. It's a great honor and pleasure to have you here, ma'am. Before we begin, let me give a glimpse of her credentials. Dr. Meenakshi is currently working as an associate professor in CDC and joint faculty in the Department of ECE, NITTR, Chandigarh. She has teaching experience of 20 years and has worked in various reputed institutes in the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication. Dr. Meenakshi has 3 patents published in her name, and currently 2 government-funded research projects are running under her. She has edited 3 books and authored study materials for ICDOEL HP University. She has published more than 120 research papers in reputed index journals and international conferences. Dr. Meenakshi is a senior member of IEEE and a life member of International Technical Society as IE and BMSEI. She has been selected as GSC member of Rotary International and visited USA in exchange program. Currently, Dr. Meenakshi is also working on developing OBE and CBCS-based curriculum designs for Education 4.0 in according to NEP 2020 for Northern states of India. Now, I would like to request Dr. Meenakshi to share her knowledge on the topic Restructuring Curriculum Framework for Higher Education in NEP 2020. Over to you, ma'am. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so very much. So first of all, I'm thankful to all the coordinators and Mr. J.B. Patra. And can I share my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Visible, ma'am.
Right. So at the onset, I am thankful to the coordinator and the organizer of this program of Shri Shankaracharya Institute of Professional Management and Technology. And I'm really thankful those who have given me this platform to interact with all the participants of this program. And I also congratulate and commend the efforts which the entire team is making. I continuously see the WhatsApp group also, and the efforts they are putting up in providing the information and all the knowledge database also to all the participants is really commendable. So, dear participants, I am here today to talk about restructuring curriculum framework for higher education in NEP 2020. I've been seeing and noticing that a lot of other speakers earlier than me, they have talked much about the OBE as well as the new education policy. So the basic the vision or the key points of the new education policy, I think, have been covered by a lot many speakers, and it might have been now much clear picture must be available with all the participants. So I'll be jotting down specifically that what this new education policy, national education policy, has in store for changing the curriculum framework for especially for the higher education. So to begin with, I just like to uh, bring forth to the participants the vibrant demographic Indian, history. That is, we in the so after before so many years, 200, 300 years back, we had world-class institutions. You name Nalinda, you name Takshila, you name Vallabhi. At that time, we had the multidisciplinary universities available with us, which were responsible for not only teaching, but also they were the research-oriented institutions. And the scientists or the scholars, if you name, Aryabhatta, Bhaskaracharya, and in any stream, whether it is science, whether physics, medical science, surgery, right, navigation, astrology, astronomy, any domain you mention, and we had the research and we had the world class research contributed from our country. That was the rich heritage which we have regarding to the education system in us. But when we talk about the British Raj or the Mughal Raj, that time lot of the it was totally legitimization of the Indian education system took place. Mahatma Gandhi, on the world-class global platform, mentioned in his one of his speeches during the Round Table Conference that the British, the beautiful tree of education, was cut down by British, and India as a society, it became far more illiterate than it was 100 years ago, because Britishers, they laid the foundation of education system, but they just wanted to have the babu culture. They wanted to make our Indian education system which would just be a felicitator for them, a link between the Britishers and our common man. They didn't want our education system to be scientific or to be technical, so that they are not ruled by Indians, right? So that is a separate story itself. But what I want to lay stress upon is that the rich heritage or the rich technical knowledge which our forefathers used to have were totally cut down and marred by the Mughals as well as by the Britishers. So after independence, several transformations were done, several changes were tried to, or they were brought in our education system to put in the efforts to make them to make our education system rise to some particular levels. Lot of efforts were made, and lot of efforts are presently being made for the our developing country, developing nation, and so that our country transforms into global knowledge superpower. We have the edge over the other countries in the terms of the human resource population, and the most youngest population is also with our country. So we really want that the resources, or especially the human resources, should be uh, developed in such a way so that the education, from the education structure, from the education sector viewpoint, India becomes a global super knowledge superpower in terms of the knowledge. So it means the education system which is presently we are dealing with, right? And for the last 34 years, 70 years, we are 74 years after independence, we are dealing with it, but we are facing certain problems. The present higher education system is severely fragmented. The ecosystem which we have framed is severely fragmented in the sense, in the not only fragmented in the domains in which we are making, because there is rigid separation of the disciplines. We have a student who goes into arts remains in arts for his lifetime. If I am choosing sciences and doing engineering, my entire life, the livelihood, the entire spectrum of my life moves across only that particular discipline. The stream which I choose, I'm choosing commerce, the path which the student follows becomes a narrow, because there is a strict, rigid discipline separation in our present education system, right? And very less emphasis is given on the cognitive skills. It is the memory, it is like our present education system is totally memory based. It is totally exam centric. We are not bothered about enhancing the capability of a student to for the creativity thinking, for the innovation. So very less stress is given on the cognitives, enhancing the cognitive skills capability, which, because these points, they pull us behind from the global perspective of the education system, right? So these are few problems, like autonomy of the teacher and institutions, affiliations, lot of governance, multi quality checks at every level. So there are these points are the bottlenecks basically in our present higher education system. So this, very less emphasis on the research, ineffective regulatory system. As I was saying, these are certain bottlenecks which do not help us. In fact, they pull us towards the less development of our education system. So that is why the government has come up with a national education policy after 34 years of the gap. The previous one was 1986. After that, some amendments have been done in the education policy, but the major changes have been incorporated in this policy, which is the national education policy. And this policy is basically going to overhauling of the entire education framework, not only the higher education but even the elementary education. The student who is a child who is going into the primary school till he completes his post graduation or doctorate, or who is going into vocational training and everything, there will be complete overhauling of the education system with this education policy. So it is very important for us, specifically for the academicians, those who are going to deal with this, and the onus lies on us for the proper implementation and the effective implementation of this education policies. So I would just like to focus upon some prime vision. Otherwise, it's a elaborate key points are there. The vision of this education policy is basically to provide high quality education to all. When I say all, so it is inclusion of the caste, creed, socio-economical. Any person should have equal footage, equal opportunity to get to know the knowledge, the vibrant knowledge, which will deal or which will lead into the society which will be knowledgeable. So that is the main vision of this education policies. And this education policy does not only talks about or is not only bothered about providing the knowledge or the skills, but it is also bothered about providing the attitude, enhancing the attitude of the students by inculcating the skills, inculcating the values, the ethics. We do not want a student who is very good at knowledge, but is not a good human being. Education always looks around the holistic development of the student. So this policy looks into the global well-being of the students of our society, right? So it wants that our education system our curriculum which we'll make should include certain topics, certain subjects which develop this consciousness or awareness towards the students' role and responsibility towards its society, towards the environment, towards its constitution. That is why, presently also, AICT has laid the norms that every engineering student or graduate or technical graduate, they should be taught a subject over the environmental sciences, over the Indian constitutions, human and ethical values, because we are not looking into the system which is responsible only for enhancing the cognitive knowledge or the only the knowledge, but we want the overall development of the student. So that is basically the vision of this national education policy, right? So as I told you, that there are a lot of parameters, lot of domains where this education policy is talking about, but we are more interested into the higher education system and the curriculum. So higher education system, when we are defining, we are looking forward to, as I told you, we are looking forward to developing well-rounded and creative individuals. So when I'm saying enhancing the cognitive skills, we are looking forward to the students or individuals, those who are creative in nature and think innovatively, right? With intellectual curiosity and spirit of service and strong ethical compass. So if we want our students to develop such type of individuals, the main the main hatyar, I would say, or the main instrument which we have is the curriculum. The curriculum and the way of teaching, the pedagogy which we may employ to introduce that curriculum, they are the main instruments by which can help us to implement this national education policy into the higher education system. Because this is the statement given in the policy document that this marks an monumental development in the country's human resource transformation, right? Because as I told you earlier also, that the government is looking towards taking this very large demographic, this as the catalyst to enhance this human resource transformation into an ambitious general reforms to meet the 21st century skills. And 21st century skills not only for India, but looking towards the global scenario, that we emerge as the superpower, global superpower in terms of human resource, and which is knowledgeable. So this is the aim and the vision of the national education policy. Now, what are the benefits or what perspective this education policy is going to provide to the students? The first and the foremost, the perspective which this education policy is looking forward to is providing the flexibility. Flexibility in terms of, like you people may say that the student has the flexibility to choose the stream. After class 12, the student can choose sciences, can choose humanities, can choose arts, can choose commerce, medicine. No, but now the NEP is looking forward to the flexibility in a total entirely different domains. Flexibility of not only choosing the stream, but the flexibility of choosing the institution, of the program, of the courses, as well as to decide the trajectory, how he wants to move. Flexibility in not only time, in domain, also in space. Right now, I want to learn a course, I want to have a course which is not being taught in my college, right, or in my university. I can opt for a course which is being taught at some IIT. Any student who has a dream of getting into IIT and he is not able to enter, okay, he gets NIT, but his dream remains that, okay, uh, I have the capability and I should have done something at IIT. Then the government is going to provide that flexibility. Okay, you are not able to get into IT, choose certain courses which are being run at IIT. Go there or online whatsoever, uh, opt for those courses, study those courses, appear for their exam, get the credits. Those credits will be included in your the main degree where you are going for. That type of flexibility. I want to learn a course from running at MIT. I have that capability, I am that, and I want that. I am a fast learner, I have a good pace. I will choose the flexibility of choosing MIT. I can take that credit. I am not comfortable to study at 9 to 5. Go for MOOC. Take the flexibility of time. I sit at night 11 o'clock, attend the course, appear for the exam. So flexibility in the time domain, flexibility in the space domain, flexibility in the stream domain, right? So I'll discuss more about this. So the beauty of this NAP in terms of curriculum lies in empowering the student to choose what they want to study, how they want to study, right? And where they want to study. So it is not, and then flexibility, like it's not mandatory. If I've chosen electronics, I cannot study music. If I've chosen management, I cannot study computer. So that type of flexibility, this NEP is going to provide to the students. Okay, dear friends, if you people have any questions or queries in between also, you are more than welcome. We can take the queries in between or at the end of the session as you people are comfortable with. Okay. So, Mr. Patra, you can just see if some chats, because I'm just seeing the screen. So if there are some queries in the chat box, you can interrupt and we can have that questions also.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So basically, what I was talking about, the flexibility. Another perspective, if I show you, a student, like we all are teachers and we have a say class of 50 students, I'm sure that 10 students will be the students which are more intelligent, or they have their own pace of learning. Their strength is their knowledge. And say 10 students will be below average. They're weak students. They're not able to keep up the pace of the class, right? So both ways, the student have to suffer. Sometimes the teachers are taking the class with the perspective of making the weakest student learn, right? So that I have to make the weakest student of the class understand. Then the student who is very intelligent and sharp, he is suffering. He has to make his pace smaller, right? Slower. Whereas if I'm teaching to an intelligent student, then the weak students are not able to cope up. So the flexibility will be provided in terms of this also, that it is not mandatory that if there are 5 subjects in one semester, the student has to take 5. A student who is good or more intelligent, he can go for 6 or 7. And a student otherwise, a student who is weak, he can reduce or he can increase his time to attain his degree. He can choose 3 courses at a time and complete 3 courses well and with better understanding, and then can move. So again, the flexibility is in terms of the attaining the proficiency in the time domain. It is not mandatory कि 6 week questions हैं, 6 subject हैं, तो उस semester में 6 ही लेने हैं. I can take 8, I can take 4. So that flexibility is also provided. So this is a very important thing which the government has put in this education policy. And I'll talk about more about this, the ABC policy, that is Academic Bank of Credits. So to keep the, to streamline this flexibility, that any student is taking 6 courses, any student taking 8. Any student is taking some credits from IIT, some students are taking some credits from NPTEL portal, some students are taking credits from the MIT. So to streamline, to give the degree at the end of the day, the government has come up with an academic bank of credits in this education policy, about which I'll be talking in details later. Okay, so basically overhauling of the existing higher education system is the key point of this education policy. So we will be having multidisciplinary universities in every district, and they'll be calling it as MERUs, multidisciplinary education and research institutes or universities, in which under one umbrella, under one university, all the possible courses will be there. Because again, the flexibility is in terms of the core type of courses I'm choosing. If I'm selecting, say, electronics engineering as my core subject, right?